It's been about half a year or so now that the 360 store has closed down, and that is just crazy. It felt like it was July just yesterday. Almost a year ago, Xbox 360 prices were just skyrocketing. Everyone was just kind of losing their shit. They're like, oh my god, I gotta get these games before the prices go up. Well, look now. The prices have gone down a lot, actually, on a lot of stuff. So, whenever these hypes happen, it's best to wait off just to see what happens. Great news is the 360 is not that bad to collect for, and there's a lot of good games to play, especially in the action-adventure genre. There are several action-adventure games on this system, as well as its counterpart PS3 because they share a lot of the same games, but there's also exclusive games on the system. I'm here today to talk about 7 different action-adventure titles that you should definitely give a try because these are some pretty good games and definitely worth a look if you're a 360 enthusiast. So, sit back, relax. I'm here today to go over 7 Xbox 360 games in the action-adventure genre that you should play. Number 1. Kicking off the list pretty good here, we got Dishonored, which is definitely a game a lot of people know about. Dishonored is a first-person action-adventure stealth-like game, and you play as this guy named Corvo. You were a bodyguard for this empress, but she gets assassinated by these people who just kind of come out of thin air and then vanish, and all the people there in the kingdom think it's you who did it, and they lock you up. Well, you eventually break out and you go on a mission, to find out who these people are and of course get away from that place. And the gameplay is pretty solid though. When you play it, it's going to feel a little bit like Fallout or something in terms of the first person view, just how it is with those Bethesda games, but the gameplay is solid and very fun. It's fun sneaking around, it's cool to collect items, it's good to attack, it's just a good time overall. This is available really not only on 360, it's on a lot of platforms like PS3, even Xbox One and PS4 and Windows, so you definitely don't have to play this game here, but I wanted to mention it just because it is one of the best games probably of the genre on the system, so Dishonored is definitely one you should not miss.
Tomorrow's execution will be restricted to the personnel assigned to the event and approved dignitaries.
Someone help me out! Got you in the river!
Number 2. I've mentioned Kameo on this channel multiple times, especially my early days on the channel almost a year ago, and this game is pretty cool though. It's an action-adventure game only on the Xbox 360, and it is a pure exclusive. And what happens here is you have all these different characters you come across throughout your adventure, and it's got like a sort of pseudo-Pokemon deal. You've got like fire creatures, earth creatures, forest creatures, water creatures, you get it, the whole thing. But they all have different abilities, and they'll actually tell you on screen what they do, and you'll need to use them to get to certain areas and fight certain enemies. It's a very ambitious game, and I think this game fell a little under the radar back in the day just because the market was so saturated with monster collecting and such, even though this game is completely different than all that stuff. Even though it's an Xbox 360 exclusive, it's a pretty cheap game, but you don't even have to buy it on 360. You can get the Rare Replay if you want to. That's a very cheap way to play it, and you can play a whole lot of other good games made by Rare. Kameo is also a very easy game, not a very big challenge, and it's a fun time overall. Definitely add this to your collection, or check this out any way you can. Number 3. Brutal Legend is a music-themed kind of game, and it was made by the guys who made Psychonauts, and if you haven't played that, that's an awesome game. You play as this guy named Eddie, of course like Eddie Van Halen, and you play as this long-haired dude, and you're a roadie. Well, something happens, and you touch your belt buckle, and this huge demon comes out and kills everybody, and you go to hell, basically. Well, these evil demon guys try to kill you. Well, you end up finding a guitar and an axe, and pretty much the combat is a little bit like, a hack and slash or something, and you can use the guitar to do like cool effects like electricity and fire, and you can hack and slash your way. It's a really cool concept for a game, and this game does have actual music in it, a lot of metal, so that's why you're not hearing a whole lot of the gameplay footage here, just a background track. I wish that companies made games more like this, because this is an awesome video game. Oh, and Jack Black also is the voice actor for this, and it's kind of hilarious because Jack Black's funny. Brutal Legend is a very cheap game, 360 or PS3, no matter how you do it. I recommend 360 though, because the Series X, it's backwards compatible, so definitely check this one out. Number 4. I've mentioned Alice Madness Returns in the past before on my backwards compatible Series X video, and obviously it's backwards compatible, but also a great title. It's an action-adventure game, but it's got a little bit, of platforming, some Zelda-ish action-adventure stuff, and overall, a fun world to explore. It's a pretty dark, gritty story. It's like a darker version of Alice in Wonderland, obviously, and you get cool weapons and upgrades throughout your adventure, and it's upscaled for the Series X if you decide to go that route. The controls feel pretty good here too. You can double jump, you can attack with your Vorpal blade they call it, and you get some random stuff like a teapot cannon and you can shoot stuff. So it's really fun and very unique and creative. This game's kind of stuck in its time period though. It's not really been mentioned again anywhere, and it's only on the 360 and the PS3. I recommend the 360 route, but the PS3 is just fine too. If you do buy this game physically, it is a 2-in-1 deal. You actually get the first game, Alice, which was on PC only in 2000, and on the Series X, it is gorgeous. It looks like a Dreamcast game, but uplifted. This game is kind of going up though slowly, so if I get this one, I'd get it now and sooner than later. Number 5. Prince of Persia had a second reboot, and it was on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. This one takes more of an open world approach to it, but nonetheless, it's still faithful to what the other games were like, and it's mostly an action-adventure platform kind of game. You play as this prince, like swashbuckler looking guy, and you find this girl along your way while there's these bandits that are after her. Well, you chase her down, she goes to this temple, she goes to this tree of life. Well, her dad goes and destroys it, and all this black darkness goes everywhere. Once that happens, you and that girl go on an adventure together. And the gameplay is pretty much like the others. There's a lot of platforming, so if you played Assassin's Creed or something, you'll be right at home with this one. And if you fall, apparently she will save you each time that you fall. So I think you can't die in this game, but definitely comment below if I'm wrong on that. The girl also has magical abilities, and it's pretty cool because it gives a little bit of gameplay variety when you're fighting enemies, and of course melee combat like the other games have. This game is very cheap. It's like a $7 or $8 game probably at this time, and definitely worth the pickup. It's on both 360 and PS3, it kind of died there, but it's optimized for the Series X. So this is one you definitely want to check out. It's a really cool game.
We can talk about this. Okay, so you're not a conversationalist.
Number 6. The moment you take a look at Deadfall Adventures, you're immediately going to think Indiana Jones or Uncharted. That's what I thought at least. And yeah, you'd be correct. It's an action-adventure game all the way, but it's a first-person shooter too. And the game definitely looks, decent for what it is. It's a small team, so they had a small budget, and you can definitely tell when you start playing the game, but once you get into it, it's definitely not that bad. The story is there, it's fine, the characters are fine, but the gameplay is pretty cool, and it's Egypt and such when you first start out, and you go to other lands too, so definitely unique and cool. For being a first-person shooter, there are some puzzles that you have to solve, and that's definitely a nice touch for a game like this. It's not just like another Doom or Halo clone. This game physically is on 360. You can digitally download it on PS3. I don't know if they delisted it by now, but physically it's only on the 360, not backwards compatible. It's a pretty obscure game. It sold terribly, so I definitely would snag this one if you see it, because who knows, there could be a day where we don't see any copies anymore in stores. Deadfall Adventures. It doesn't really reinvent the wheel or anything, but it's just good old comfort action-adventure fun.
Bravo, Mr. Quarterman. This is the second time you've helped us today. Now, if you would please step away from the tomb and allow me to take care of the heart.
Careful! According to my research, the tomb can trigger this entire room to collapse.
Number 7. The Saboteur is an action-adventure game released in 2009, developed by Pandemic. And Pandemic, this is the last game they ever developed. They're most famous for making the Star Wars Battlefront games back in the day. Those were some timeless classics to play. The Saboteur takes place in Europe, primarily Germany, and it starts off with a flashback and you get to know this guy that's an Irish guy, and you meet up with this French dude that's at a bar and he tries to talk you into taking down the Nazis because it was during World War II. Well, you end up going to this Nazi fuel depot thing and blowing it up, and that's pretty much all that happens at the beginning. But basically the gameplay here is action-adventure style, and it kind of reminds me of stuff like Grand Theft Auto, LA Noire in a way. You'll definitely know when you start playing it, but the gameplay is just so fun and good. And it's just a cool, you know, representation of what this time period looked like back during the World War II days. There's not many games that utilize this kind of scenery here, so it's nice to see a game that does something like this. Sadly though, the Saboteur is stuck in its time period, only on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. And this game is like a $20 game or so it's definitely gotten up in value, and it is not backwards compatible on the Series X, so you gotta play this on original hardware. This is a cool game though, probably one of the most unique games on this list. Check this one out.
Before she gets herself killed.
I am not going anywhere.
Enough! I'm taking her upstairs. Ich nehme die Flanke! And stay the fuck down.
And there you have it. Those are 7 Xbox 360 titles that you should definitely give a chance and try playing them on original hardware, or if you can play them on modern hardware or different systems. I'm well aware that there's so many more games I could have chosen for a list like this, so if your game wasn't on here, I do apologize, but these are the ones that just kind of stuck out to me the most that were worth mentioning. But if there's a game that you wish was on this list, or you want to share what you think, definitely leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.